morning. I woke up feeling really incredible today. It's sunny, which is so nice. My last little stretch in Southern Portugal has been so rainy, which is funny because I remember saying not even like maybe a week before it really started to rain. I remember saying like the weather is just always great. I can't remember who I said it to, but one of my friends, I was like, it's just perfect. Like every day is perfect. So much sun. And even if it rains a little, it's sunny. And that has not been the case. As soon as I said that, I feel like it was like, just kidding. Here's a bunch of rain, like just days of rain. But today it's sunny and beautiful. I'm trying not to look. I never check the weather, actually. It's kind of like maybe I should. I don't know. I never do. Even like in my normal life, whatever that what is that? But I kind of think of like, it's just always a surprise. And I will just look outside. If it looks sunny like it does right now, in my mind, like if I were leaving for the day, I would just plan on it being sunny, which is a total downfall sometimes because especially here, it can be like this. And then in an hour, it can be like black. So yeah, I might need to start doing a better job. But I was planning out the rest of my time and I'm planning some time like doing some like exploring in like smaller towns outside of Lisbon. And I'm looking at like what days, what options. And I did look at the forecast just to be able to hopefully plan. It is all rain. Like every day is rain. So I might be like going to museums and that's great too. That'll be fun too. Being here in Portugal with now this more grounded, clear direction of why I want to do this in the first place and what I really intend to open up and talk about has felt like, what has it felt like? It's felt like clarity, I think, really like a map, a direction. I struggle when there's too many options, I guess. Yeah, I think I struggle when there's just like too much going on. I feel like I do best when it's like, we're going to do this and then this and then this, and that's the path. Then I feel like I'm like, let's go. Perfect. I can do that. But when it's like, we might do this, we might stop here, we might go over this, we might have this, then I feel like I'm just like, somebody tell me what to do. Somebody else tell me what to do, which is funny because I am, that's a newer part of me. Truthfully, I've always been, we're going to do this and this and this and this. That's like how I've operated as an adult up until a couple of years ago. And now that pendulum that I've talked about before, it's like so far the other way that I feel like even if there's 3 decisions, I'm sort of like, I don't know. I'm just going to wait and sit here. I don't know. Like that is such a different part of me. And it is me. Like that is part of me. But it's a newer part that I'm understanding and getting to know. So it feels good today to sort of have this other part of me that's much clearer and able to take action and make decisions and move forward in a direction. That part I feel a little bit more integrated with in this format, sitting down like this. One of the things that I know holds me back, and probably if you've ever considered doing a podcast or a vlog or even writing more authentically on social media or talking about your experiences, whatever they are, good, bad, otherwise, there's always this, like, for me at least, there's this narrative that like the other person or people don't get to defend themselves or don't get to interject in their experience of my version of the experience. And so that narrative plays and then it holds me kind of stuck. Yep. Holds me kind of stuck because I feel like it's not fair. Like that's like they should be able to say, you know, like, no, that's not what happened. This is what happened. So interesting how hard it is for me to open this up and talk about things this way. But I'm doing it anyway, even if I have to clear my throat 1,000,000 times. So I want to address that first of all, because as I start talking through my challenges in my life, my experiences that I've navigated, I am so open to someone else having a different experience, someone else who is directly involved. I was raised Jehovah's Witness in the Jehovah's Witness organization as one of Jehovah's Witnesses. However, that that needs to be articulated properly. That is the religion that I was raised in. I will talk about that directly. If there is some issue with that from someone in that religion, I welcome that conversation. I will have opinions to also share. And that's like what I've noticed so far around anyone who is still actively participating in that religious organization. Their voice needs to be heard. Yours needs to be silenced. So that dynamic won't work. This is my space. My voice won't be silenced. That's what I'm working on. However, I open dialogue around that. There's a woman who I follow. Her name is Stephanie. Her background is Mormonism. And I will tag her in this. She's been such an inspiration to me. She doesn't know me. She's in the beauty industry. I took bridal styling classes from her like forever ago. I think the first time I met her was at America's Beauty Show I think I was married. So, I mean, a long time ago. And then and even before that, I was like really into her. But that was, I think, the first time I met her in person for a class. And she was just an incredibly talented bridal stylist. And I was doing a ton of weddings at the time. So, but now I follow her on socials because she shares so authentically about her own religious trauma and how she's navigated that process and speaking on it. And she has been such an inspiration for me to be able to start talking about my experience, which is different from hers, but has some similarities. Every conversation I have had with a former Mormon, I feel like we both are just like, oh my God, and this, oh my God, and this, and this. Like, there's so many similarities. Yeah, it blows my mind really, because you grow up with these, perceptions of like, oh, they're XYZ, they're whatever, labels. And when you actually sit down and have a conversation, it's sort of like, oh, that's the same. This is, yep, and this and that, and yep, and oh, wow. Yeah. So anyway, she's been such an inspiration to me, and I really appreciate the way that she doesn't tiptoe around it. If you're watching this, please be watching with a lens of curiosity. If you're watching to judge, that is projection. I don't want to shame that, because that's been conditioned. But look at that. Take a freaking look at that. Just look at that. Look at the context of you watching me because of your own curiosities. Because what? Because you knew me at one point, because you found me, because somebody shared this with you and said like, oh my God, look at what she's doing, saying, whatever the reasons are. Just first of all, take a look at that. Just if you can, I know it's not always accessible, but if you can, take off the glasses that identify you, take them off, and instead just take a look at the entire dynamic between what it is that you've been taught to believe, and then what it is that I'm actually saying, and where you find problems with that. So what is it about what I'm saying, my own true experiences? What is it about me saying these things, just from your values as a human being? What is it that I'm doing or saying that is an issue? And I genuinely welcome that dialogue. Send me a message, send me an email, reach out to me and tell me what it is that I'm doing, separate from the religious beliefs that would label me as an apostate or bad association. That's a massive label to put on someone who doesn't agree with your opinion. Why does that exist? Why does that exist? It only exists to shield you, whoever you are, from actually listening to a message that does not align with the alternative direction that religion wants to make sure you stay intertwined in. So me saying anything against that threatens that, because that could be broken down by enough people saying, wait a second, this doesn't make sense. Wait a second, this is illegal. Wait a second, this is manipulative. Wait a second, this is causing religious trauma for people that then have to break down and heal from this trauma. Like, wait a second. Of course I would be labeled this way. Of course, because if you are afraid of me, if I am threatening with that label, which, trust me, again, the idea of being identified as an apostate. First of all, when you are no longer part of that religion, that word doesn't mean anything. If I say that to anyone who is not identifying as that, they literally are like, apostate? Like an apostle? What does that mean? No one cares about that unless they are within this organization. So just glasses off, take a look. If you're listening to this because of your own curiosities, if you're listening to this because you've had your own questions, you've had your own traumas, you're still maybe in, but don't necessarily fully identify with the context of, I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you. And again, send me a message. I understand. It is a twisted yarn ball, knotty and tangled, and everything that you understand will have to be evaluated and broken down and rediscovered. And that's so hard. That is so hard. It's so hard. And I understand. So wherever you fall, if that's why you're listening to this, because I'm talking about my religious upbringing, you are welcome here. You are always welcome here. Even if you call me an apostate, you're welcome here. If you're watching this with merely the intent to send me hate or gossip about me to other people, if there's any purpose behind that, like, I mean, again, I don't care. That's okay. If that's how you want to spend your time, okay. Yeah, that's okay. One of the things I will say, this just is judgment in general. If you are ever watching something, consuming something with the purpose of judging it, you are, in theory, bringing that judgment onto yourself. So I'm a big one for return to sender. I actually say like little affirmations to myself when I like share things on social media. I will say an affirmation, intention around any judgment, any hatred, anything that's not mine, return to sender, back to them. I know that when I put myself into positions to share things vulnerably, there will be opinions. I know it. I'm fully aware. I understand it. It is something I've talked with people who have much bigger followings than I've ever had that go through this. And I've also navigated it in a small capacity around my own business platforms and around my own marketing platforms, my own avenues that I've already navigated professionally. I've navigated imposter syndrome. I've had to work through marketing and understanding that it feels really uncomfortable to market something that you're selling. I've had to navigate that already in different capacities. So the difference is now it's me. Now it's me, Lindsay. And so it is incredibly vulnerable. It is so uncomfortable to know that, especially early on, sharing this publicly will open opportunity for people to pass judgment, to gossip, whatever it is, just know that my intention is return to sender. This virtual space that I'm creating, it's mine. It's mine. I get to say whose energy comes in and how, and when that energy comes in, what's done with it. So if you're here to cheer me on, if you're here to celebrate my ability to open up my voice and share my story, if you're here to feel inspired, if you're here to connect, if it's positive in any way, shape, or form, I'm returning that to sender. So my intent is that is sent right back to you. That positivity, that inspiration, that whatever positive thing you're coming into my space with, I am returning that to sender. I want that to go back to you and amplify out a million times over. If you're coming in here to my space and you are judging me, you are criticizing me, you are gossiping about me, I am also returning that to sender. That is also going right back to you. So do with that what you will. That's your choice. It's your choice. It's the whole experience here in life. It's your choice. So as I navigate how I'm going to be talking about this, I welcome other opinions. So even from past friends, past business experiences, past anything at all that I talk about here in a vague way, I'm open to having a conversation about that one-on-one. As I start talking more and more about different experiences, I will own my things. So even in my religion that I was raised in, it's not mine actually, in the religion that I was raised in, I was breaking the rules. I was having sex. I was drinking. I think I smoked weed. I think that was one of the things I had to confess, but I was breaking the rules. So the consequence of breaking the rules is disfellowshipping. I'm not saying anything around the like, I didn't do that. I'm not saying I didn't do any of these bad things. And I was wronged unfairly. Like, no, I broke the rules. Like, these are the rules. I'm just saying the rules are traumatizing. The rules create breakdowns in family systems. The rules are actually not at all a reflection of God, universe, source. That's what I'm saying. So same with friendships. I'm not at all ever saying I'm a perfect friend. I'm a perfect friend, and I have had no interactions where I did not have responsibility in the dynamic of the friendship. But what I will say, even in that scenario, I have always apologized. I have apologized and apologized and apologized many, many times. I have opened conversation. I have asked for clarity. I have owned my own. We don't have to stay friends. It's okay if friendships end. If you don't like the way that I perceived that experience, whatever that experience is, let's have a conversation about it. Let's clear the air. Let's both have interaction that allows us to actually sit with like, oh, I understand your perspective totally. And I'm so grateful for the opportunity to feel heard from you. I do think one of the biggest spaces for me to grow into is to not protect behavior that did hurt me. I've done that my whole life. I've protected and shielded behavior from others that has caused me pain, heartbreak. And I won't do that. That I will share my experience. I will say, this is what I experienced. This is also what I did. This is how I was not perfect in any of these dynamics. This is how I fell short. This is what I learned. This is whatever, like any of that. My intention is never to paint myself in some sort of, sparkly light of perfection, and these are all the experiences and people that wronged me. However, I also am not going to shy away from saying, this is what I experienced in that relationship. This is what I experienced in that friendship. This is what I experienced in that dynamic, in that conversation, whatever. I fully intend to speak honestly and transparently about my experiences. So, with that, the door is open. The communication door wide open. If for whatever reason anything I'm saying triggers you or pushes you into a place of wanting to share your own truth, be my guest. And again, I like that opening that door up is so vulnerable. Even though from my perspective, I apologized even then. I still, down the road came back and said, hey, I really hope you know, I'm really sorry for how I handled that. I'm really sorry for that action, that behavior, that whatever. And I would do it again. So again, if at any point someone does reach out to me and says, hey, I heard this and this is how I experienced you in that moment, like, I know you would have to meet me where I'm at today to have any understanding for who I am. And if that is the version of it you're holding on to of me, that girl's dead. She doesn't exist. I'm sorry for the experiences that created, but this person, this woman, this 36-year-old who has navigated so much shadow work, deep healing, vulnerability, and now ability to share publicly around my own experiences, I promise you, I'm not that person. Whoever that version of me was that you experienced, I'm not that. And I can say that with so much confidence, and I'm open to having a discussion and a dialogue and hearing you while also feeling heard. There's a phrase for this behavior when someone, I'm not even going to sugarcoat it, but they remind you of all the good things and try to push your focus away from all the bad things. It's like this. So then you end up really struggling to recognize the bad things. And I have now not anymore because I've cleared out so much of this, but at one point I literally listed Like, and this happened, and this happened, and this happened. And I could go back to these moments in moments of questioning myself and say, like, no, Lindsay, remember, this happened. This is real. This is your real emotion. This is really what happened. This is really how you experienced it. This is real. So no matter what picture is painted that gives you some sort of delusion about what was actually being experienced, you have these concrete resources for yourself to be able to go back and say, no, this is what I felt. This is how I was treated. This is what I experienced. But the details don't matter, because the only reason I would go into circles and stories about the details are because I want you to choose my side. And that's it. I don't care if you choose my side. At the end of the day, that was enough for me. That was enough for me to say, like, wow, my glasses are off. It takes a lot to take them off, because you have to look at life differently. And that is hard when you've put yourself through experiences for so long. Believing a certain thing, understanding something the way that it works for you. And so for me, keeping those glasses on allowed me to hold on to some hope or some belief around my worthiness that I was attaching. I was hoping that somehow, again, magically, I could keep my glasses on and continue on. Yeah. But that's not how it went. And I'm so grateful now. But that kind of stuff, like, that door is slammed shut. I want nothing to do with this because of the manipulation that I've experienced over and over and over. The lack of safety that this behavior has created for me. I want to move forward in peace. I've learned my lessons. I've taken them with gratitude. I have apologized for my own behaviors. Are there things I did need to own? Yes, 100%. I've apologized. I feel good about that. I'm so open to sharing from my perspective and also hearing someone else's perspective of me, and then apologizing for chapters in my life that are not aligned with who I am anymore. I feel like, that goes to my family. My mom, one of the biggest things I've navigated, understood through my own process of being able to speak on my experiences are that there have been many times that she's accused me of sharing personal things that she doesn't feel comfortable and safe with. And actually, I haven't done that. I've been so cautious because I've wanted to protect her and also the religion that she is a part of. And truthfully, I'm a grown woman. She's a grown woman. I'm going to share my experiences around our relationship and how it's affected me, because my true, genuine intent is to heal this for myself, first and foremost. I've worked through a lot of this on my own, but one of my biggest blocks is speaking on my truth. And so for me to heal, I'm going to speak on my truth. And that comes with consequence in the sense that there is accountability around behavior. That our last communication, I was asking for us to see a family therapist. I was asking for us to heal parts of communication. I was asking for participation from her in my healing, and that was not received. We are not in contact. That door for me is currently closed. And will I open it again in the future? Maybe. Will she close it on her end? Maybe. Is there, and again, everything is welcome. So however that goes is how it goes, but I'm not going to hold back sharing on my experience, because I want to heal for myself fully and completely before I step into motherhood. And also, secondly, because I want other people who have dynamics like this to feel safe and comfortable sharing their own experiences, to feel heard, to feel understood, to not feel so alone, because I have felt so alone for years and years and years as an adult, because I feel I don't have relationships with my parents. My dad is not here physically. I do actually feel like I have a relationship with him in some esoteric woo spiritual form. I've actually had experiences with him, and I will talk about that. Some really special experiences with my dad. But I don't have a relationship with my mom, and not physically having a relationship with either parent figure is hard. No matter what your age is, I think it's harder when you're younger for some reasons. It's harder when you're older for some reasons. It's all hard. There's hard around all of it. So if someone else doesn't have relationships with their parents for whatever reason, whether it's from similar experiences to mine, I would love to offer my story so that someone else doesn't have to feel alone in that experience for themselves. So that's something I navigate. I have a sibling, a brother. He and I also have a very broken relationship. I'm more protective of him. He's my younger brother. I'm older. And so I've always had this feeling. But again, his behavior is also challenging. His behavior requires accountability for any sort of progress in our relationship. So I'm not going to avoid talking about how his behavior has impacted me in different ways and how that's contributed to the breakdown of the relationship that we have. I've worked on my behavior in that relationship, and I've asked for respect in return, and that's not reciprocated. And so those dynamics, I feel very strongly that anyone who doesn't want you to talk about those types of things are the people that have created problems and challenges and have not been able to take accountability for their actions. Those are people who want to tell you to stop talking about it. Those are people who want to tell you that you're cringy. Those are people that gossip about you. Those are people, whatever. Those are the people. No one else cares. No one else. Either they're only here to hear something that inspires them, or they're not here at all. If you've ever wanted to share something around your own experiences, like most likely people aren't even paying attention to you. And the people that are only going to be paying attention to you because you're inspiring them, you're educating them, you're supporting them in some way, or they don't want to take accountability and then they want to take that and use it as fuel to gossip or to judge or to serve some other narrative that works for them and their story and whoever will listen to them. Let them. In the words of Mel Robbins, let them. And I am definitely doing that. So I think that's good for today. I think I have like 800 followers on social media right now. So whatever 10 people watch this, whatever that looks like. Yeah, I intend to kind of show up and talk more about just my backstory, my history, and what got me here, what brought me to want to start over this way. Yeah. So